It was a Diwali morning. The sun was yet to make an appearance. Vrindavan was covered with a blanket of darkness. A gentle breeze entered the open window, finding its way to the majestic bed in the regal bedroom of Mother Yashoda. The breeze brushed the cheeks of Mother Yashoda, who was holding little Krishna in her arms. She opened her eyes, acknowledging the breeze. It was time for her to wake up and make Diwali sweets for her little baby. Everything and everyone in Vrindavan was focused on serving Krishna in the best possible way. She served Krishna and Vrindavan served her. With a gentle tug, she freed herself from the little buttery arm of her baby that was tightly clutching her. Mother Yashoda got up stretching herself. It was Diwali, she remembered. A long day for her. Quickly getting ready, she walked into the kitchen of Nanda Bhavan. It wasn't a small kitchen by any standard. Hundreds of maids and servants worked there tirelessly all day long. Mother Yashoda did not need to lift a single kitchenware. There would be a dozen of people ready to do anything at her beck and call. But when it came to her precious Krishna, she felt that no one could do better than what she could do as a mother. It was not about taste, it was about love. On a list were a lot of sweets and savories to be prepared. The only time she had was till little Krishna woke up from a transcendental slumber. Once he was awake, he would demand her constant attention. Now that was the only one side of the story. The other side was once he woke up, there was nothing else that Yashoda preferred to do except pamper him with a love. As she readied the kitchen for the laborious cooking that was about to happen, she glanced at various ingredients that had been collected and stored together last evening itself. Most important on her agenda were the sweets preparation. Krishna, being a sweet child with sweet tooth, how he loved the sweets a bit sweeter than regular. That extra sweetness always made him smile so sweetly. Yashoda smiled, imagining her smile. The most important ingredient, the king of a kitchen, was milk. It simply had to be the best. She gave special attention to the quality of milk, devising an elaborate ingenious process to ensure that the best of the best milk was obtained for Krishna's pleasure. Nanda Bhavan proudly housed 9 lakhs beautiful cows. Of 9 lakhs cows, Mother Yashoda had carefully selected 8 of the most robust cows who were there given special attention. These 8 were fed a special type of grass which had the fragrance of lotus flower. This grass was known as the Padma Gandha grass. Being fed with fragrant grass, the milk of these cows had the fragrance of lotus. The milk of these 7 cows was then fed to the 8th cow. The milk of the 8th cow was thus highest quality of milk in the whole of Vrindavan. Knowing that the milk would be best used for Krishna, the 8th cow gave more than any other cow in the barren. The milk that was stored in all the urns of Mother Yashoda's kitchen was the milk from that special cow. As Yashoda turned around inspecting all the ingredients, her eyes gleamed with joy. There was intense action going on. Effortlessly gliding around the kitchen, she monitored several fires simultaneously. While several maids carried out small chores for her, she herself monitored all the fires and the delicacies being cooked on each of them. Having set everything rolling, now it was time for her to do something that she loved and something that Krishna was mad about: butter. She loved to churn fresh butter for Krishna every day. The butter from the Padma Gandha milk was absolutely the best in the world. She had hoped that the taste of the butter would excite Krishna so much that he wouldn't even consider the idea of stealing butter from other gopis' houses. Drops of perspiration gathered on her forehead. 2 rivers began to flow down from her brows, heading towards her reddish lips. With a flick of her finger, she diverted them and then reached her neck instead. Now Mother Yashoda concentrated on churning urn. Seated right in middle of the kitchen was a huge kingly urn that contained yogurt. Dipped in the middle of the thick yogurt was a wooden rod tied with a silken rope. The ends of the rope were fastened to a soft velvet cloth that acted as a soft grip for Mother Yashoda to wrap her fingers around. It was almost like a warrior gripping the reins of his horse. She began to pull and push the ropes alternately, causing the rod to churn the yogurt inside the urn. As she got comfortable with it, her speed increased. The churning rod whirled and thrilled at the base of the earthen urn, splashing the liquidy yogurt and creating her special sound. The musical ears of Mother Yashoda caught the beat, inspiring her to churn rhythmically. Her bell-shaped earrings swung into rhythm to blend into a sweet jingle. She tapped her feet in a sync with the euphonic orchestra. The silver anklets in her feet added a jiggle to the symphony. The bangles on her hands were clanging along in rhythm with her hands' movements. Yashoda began to sing sweet little ditties that she herself had composed. These weren't simple songs, they were memories captured in words. Every experience she had with Krishna was converted into lyrics that stayed with her for life. As she engaged herself in cooking, she sang these songs to rejuvenate her mornings. The maids would eagerly make note of these new composition, and by evening, every resident of Vrindavan had these songs on their lips. Dressed in a saffron sari, perched on a small wooden stool, Mother Yashoda was busy using her words in glorifying Krishna, her mind in recollecting the divine pastimes of Krishna, and her hands in actively serving Krishna. The malati flowers on Mother Yashoda's hair were embraced to be sitting on the head of such an excellent personality, preferring to reside at her feet. One by one, they began to drop themselves at her feet. When her maids saw her in this posture, they felt that they were in presence of a sannyasi whose body, mind, and words were fully engaged in serving the Lord. Suddenly, everything came to a standstill. The rod stopped churning, the anklets stopped jingling, the bangles stopped clanging, the earrings stopped swinging, Yashoda stopped singing, as if time had frozen in that one moment. It was the moment Mother Yashoda saw the beautiful face of little Krishna standing in front of her, snatching the churning rod with his cute little fingers. Whenever she saw her darling son Krishna, everything around her froze. The melodious singing of Mother Yashoda's devotional ecstasies had reached sleeping Krishna's ear, dragging him out of his transcendental slumber. Fighting against the desperation to sleep and hungry to experience Mother Yashoda's love, Krishna crawled out of his bed on his stomach and somehow lowered himself onto the floor. Crawling quickly from the bedroom into the kitchen, Krishna yearned to see his mother. On seeing her immersed in the churning activity, he crawled on his fours towards her. His mother's eyes were closed, blissfully absorbed in singing songs of her wonderful memories. For a moment, Krishna smiled, admiring the breathtaking beauty of his mother's love. The very next moment, he frowned, annoyed at her for paying so much attention to the pot of yogurt while neglecting her sleeping child. Yashoda looked at her darling son standing on his legs, holding the churning rod with one hand and the end of a sari with the other hand. His eyes were fiery red, glaring at her as if saying, "Stop this churning business and feed me." The all-knowing mother smiled. Her child was hungry for her love. Letting go of the ropes connected to the churning rod, she held out her arms. Krishna rushed into her outstretched arms. As she placed little Krishna on her lap, there was a beautiful smile of contentment on his divine face, and he relished the nectar of his mother's love. Just as she was happily gazing at her darling drink milk with great joy, a smell caught her attention. Unmistakably, it was the smell of boiling milk over. The strong smell was followed by a cracking sound of milk spilling out of the vessel. Mother Yashoda frantically placed Krishna on the ground and ran over the stove where the milk was. When the choice was between serving Krishna with the milk or serving Krishna by saving the precious Padmagandha milk that was boiling over, she chose to save the milk from which she had planned to make so many milk confectionaries. While Yashoda had been busy feeding Krishna with the milk that was on the stove was worried. It was well known that Yashoda's love for Krishna was unlimited. Therefore, the quantity of her milk was also unlimited, and Krishna's ability to drink that milk was also unlimited. Given this scenario, the scope of it to serve Krishna was extremely limited. The milk came to the conclusion that if there was no scope for serving Krishna in this life, then there was no point in continuing to live. Better to commit suicide by jumping into the cooking fire below the vessel. Thus, it decided to boil over and end its wasteful existence.